While the transaction command is often used to see what happened between point A and point B, there are times when we need to get information about transactions that did not complete. A transaction is considered closed when it meets all of the conditions specified within the transaction command. The conditions of a transaction are the options starts with, ends with, max events, max pause, and max span. The transaction command auto-populates a field in the sidebar called closed underscore TXN or closed underscore transaction. And this closed transaction field has a value of 1 or 0, depending on whether the transaction events are considered complete or incomplete. In addition to the closed transaction field, we have a keep evicted option that is built into the transaction command. Keep evicted takes a value of true or false and is set to false by default, evicting all incomplete transactions. However, as mentioned earlier, there are times when we need to get information about transactions that did not complete, which is a reason for setting keep evicted to true. Let's take a look at an example. Let's say the business operations team needs to identify the success rate of transactions on its production web servers. We're going to take a look at our web data over the last 24 hours, and we want to evaluate the transactions and provide the total attempted, total completed, and percent completed of overall transactions. What we're going to do is pipe to the transaction command, pass in the JSession ID field, group together all of the events that share the same value in the JSession ID field, and filter on those transactions that start with an action equal to add to cart and end with an action equal to purchase. And let's go ahead and run this search. Now, what we'll notice in the sidebar is we have a closed transaction field that has a value of 1, meaning that all of these transaction events are successfully completed transactions. However, if I go up into this transaction command and add keep evicted, setting it to a value of 1, meaning let's keep all of the transactions that were incomplete and evicted. That's going to bring up the event count, and it is also going to add a value of 0 to that closed transaction field. So we're looking at transactions that both satisfied and did not satisfy the requirements of the conditions. From there, we are going to run a search and only filter on those transactions that contain at least one event with an add to cart. That will bring our event count down to about 2,000. And from here, using the stats command, we are going to count and evaluate the number of events that have a closed transaction value of 0. Those will be the total failed transactions. We will count and evaluate the number of events that have a closed transaction value of 1. These are the total completed transactions. And then the overall count will be the total attempted transactions. That stats command will take us over into the statistics tab, and we will see these 3 fields and their values being created. From here, we'd like to create a new field with the eval command called percent completed that will store a percentage that will be the result of total attempted subtracted from total failed, And this is all going to be divided by total attempted. If we run this search, that's going to result in a decimal value. Since we're looking at a percentage, we want to round to the nearest integer level. And let's go ahead and add a second argument of 0. And make sure that we have the appropriate set of parentheses here. And we want to multiply total attempted subtracted by total failed by 100. All right, that's going to result in the percentage value, and we will then concatenate a percent symbol to the very end, looking at 93% of the events are completed transaction events. From here, we can go ahead and pipe on over into the table command and reformat our table here to display total attempted, followed by total completed, followed by percent completed.